All right, let's just jump right in. If you've ever tried to automate a modern website, I'm willing to bet you've hit this exact wall. You've got these elements you need to click, but you can't, because they only show up when you hover your mouse over something else. It's a classic problem, and today, we're going to solve it for good.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Think of a big e-commerce site, something like eBay. You see those main categories: electronics, fashion, home, and garden. But where are all the submenus for TVs or cell phones or cameras? Well, they're hidden. They literally pop into existence only when your mouse cursor hovers over the main category. For you and me, that's easy. For an automation script, that's a huge roadblock.
So that's really the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do we tell our script to do something that isn't a click? How do we get it to perform that subtle, human-like hover just to make that hidden menu appear so we can finally get to work on it? Well, it turns out Selenium has a really slick solution for this. And here it is, the hero of our story today, the Actions class. You see, the people who built Selenium knew that what we do on websites is way more complex than just clicking. So they gave us this amazing tool, built specifically for handling these kinds of advanced user gestures.
So what is this thing, really? Well, the Actions class is basically a special utility in Selenium WebDriver that lets you chain together a whole sequence of complex commands. We're talking about things like right clicks, double clicks, dragging and dropping, and of course, the one we care about today, hovering the mouse.
I think the best way to imagine the Actions class is to think of it as a virtual hand for your script. You know, a simple .clicking command is kind of like poking the screen with a stick. It gets the job done for simple tasks, but the Actions class, that gives your script the dexterity of a real hand, letting it perform all those subtle gestures a real person would. Okay, so the theory is cool and all, but how do we actually use this virtual hand? It's actually way simpler than you might think. It boils down to a really simple, repeatable 3-step process. So first things first, you got to tell Selenium what to hover over. So you find your element, that electronics category, and you save it. Easy. Step 2, you create a new instance of the Actions class itself, and you feed your WebDriver into it. And then step 3, the finale, is you use that Actions object to build your command, and, this is the important part, you tell it to perform the action. Now hold on, I really want to double-click on that third step, because this right here is the #1 reason people get stuck. There's one final, absolutely critical command that makes the magic happen, and it is so easy to forget. So you write this code, and it looks perfect, doesn't it? You made your Actions object, you're calling the move-to-element method, and you're passing in that element you found in step 1. It feels like you're done. Your code is telling the mouse exactly where to go. But let me ask you, if you were to run just this one line of code, what do you think would happen? The answer is probably not what you'd expect. Absolutely nothing. That's right, your script runs, no errors, but the mouse on the screen, it doesn't move a single pixel. So what gives? You're missing this little guy right here, the .perform method. This is everything. This is the trigger. This is the command that says, okay, I've lined up all the instructions. Now actually do it in the browser. So here's the big aha moment. Methods like move to element, they don't actually do anything on their own. They just describe what you want to do. It's like you're writing down steps in a recipe. You're telling Selenium, first, I want to move the mouse here, then maybe I'll right-click, then I'll drag something. You can build up this whole chain of actions. It's .perform that finally tells the chef, okay, the recipe's ready, go. Without it, all your brilliant instructions are just sitting there and the hover just never happens. Awesome. So now that you've got that fundamental concept down, let's just quickly look at a couple of other ways you can use this to get even more precise control over that virtual mouse. And this is where it gets really powerful. The basic move to element method is fantastic. It just zips the cursor right into the center of your element. But what if you need to be more surgical? Well, there's another version of the method that lets you give it X and Y coordinates. This moves the mouse to a very specific point based on an offset from the element's top left corner. We're talking pixel-perfect control here. When it's all said and done, it really just comes down to this. If you can burn these two things into your brain, you've pretty much solved the hover problem. You need the Actions class to get all the special powers, and you need the move to element method to tell it what to do. Just remember to tack on .perform at the end, and you are golden. So, from now on, when you see one of those tricky hover menus, or a drag and drop feature, or anything that needs more than a simple click, you'll know exactly what to do. you've got the virtual hand of the actions class ready to go. So the only real question left is, what are you going to automate with it next? Thanks for tuning in.